paper recently that they've gone through probably a 6-week process where every single member of the fire department sat down and heard exactly where they were, what they needed to do, and I think they all stepped up and understood that for the solvency of the pension plan and the fact that the city was putting the kind of money that we're putting into it. And so that solvency that was at 40 years is probably going to be half that. There were some decisions that were made years ago about what the expectations were with regard to what the return was going to be, which was overly optimistic.
Yes.
That has also been changed. Mr. Moore and I actually served on that pension board for the last several years. It's much, much better, and as you said, substantially better than a lot of the other public pension plans in other parts of the country. Much better.
Thank you, Councilman. Really appreciate it. Great update. Other questions? How are we doing on time? Yes, sir.
What about school finance? Anything coming up in a session on that?
Do you try not to be facetious? I've talked about it. I've talked about it a lot. It's the legislature's responsibility. We've known it's been a problem for a long time. Did we deal with it? No. We're waiting on the courts. Is that what we're going to probably do? Probably. And I don't think that's right. I think it's our duty. We ought to get ahead of it. We know that there are many inequities in the system, and we ought to be working on it. Kathy, what were you going to say?
If the legislature's in session, school finance is on the table.
Yeah, and it's right there in Article 7. It's our constitutional duty to make that a provision.
However, they are not likely to address a significant increase in funding during the regular session because the court is not supposed to come out with a final decision until later in the year, and there's a good chance there will be a special session on school finance if it's declared unconstitutional at the
Sorry, Pete. That's probably going to happen. Yes, Mike.
What kind of impact on the state budget is the oil and gas price? The price of a barrel of oil and the income the state gets from it, what's that going to have? What kind of effect on the budget?
Well, I think going forward, certainly the comptroller, Glenn Hagers, would be the person to ask. We've done real well up till right now, more recently. I do think it'll have an impact, and we need to be prudent. We don't need to just... What we need to do when we're doing well, we need to save, so that when we go through lean times, we can use some of those savings to even it out. That is easier said than done, like most of our households. It will have an impact on the oil, gas, severance taxes, which goes into the Economic Stabilization Fund, which affects now, because of the amendment that we just passed, our roads. Some of that money will be going to that. That's the primary way it'll affect the budget. Right off the hand, as far as directly, of course, it affects the whole economy if we continue to pull back. Yes.
Is there much will in the legislature to try to reduce the Texas